Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates. Today's a very special episode because we're talking about one story, and that is a shirtless Florida man caused a melee in a Publix by swinging a shelf around and causing complete destruction of the store until he was arrested. Now, when I first read the article and it said shirtless Florida man, I'm already in, because shirtless Florida man is a thing where I click. It's not clickbait. I'm all the way in on shirtless Florida man. So if that man would have had a shirt on, it would not be on brand for what Florida is. If you're gonna cause a melee in a supermarket, you take your shirt off and you stay on brand. And that guy did this, so I love that about this news story. Shirtless Florida man causes a melee, and I'm in right away. Now, a lot of you are probably surprised if you've been to Florida and you know Florida supermarkets. You're probably thinking this is something that would happen at a Winn-Dixie or a Pantry Pride, but not at a Publix. Publix is a Rolls Royce of the supermarket chain, so this is very uncharacteristic for this to happen at a Publix. And, Winn-Dixie, yes. Pantry Pride, yes. Even a late night Waffle House, this is something that would happen there, but not at Publix, the creme de la creme, as they say. Now, the melee started in aisle 6, which is the ethnic food section, which we'll have to see how the charges pan out. It might be a hate crime if you start a melee in the ethnic food section, but it got so out of control, it ended in the greeting card section. So that's perfect because he's probably gonna have to get a sympathy card for all the people that he injured and an apology card to send. So it actually ended in the perfect spot. And the police obviously were called and they came and they exited him out. But everybody knows who's a Florida person. And I went to Florida public schools, so this resonates with me. There's a gigantic scale in the front of the store at Publix, and they probably had him check his weight. And it made me think to myself, if this keeps happening, they should just have a whole booking section of the store. Just book people and take them into a jail in the basement of Publix, like they do for the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, the fans there are wild, so they had to put a jail under the stadium, and they should do the same thing at Publix. Now, what caused this man to have this kind of reaction? And I think there was a fight going on. Between two women, and he was with one of the parties, so he started wildly swinging a shelf, which is not how you break up a fight, by the way. You break up a fight, you grab the one person and hold them away from the other person so that the violence stops. Grabbing a shelf and swinging it randomly at people is not a good way to disengage two people from fighting. If anything, it adds more to it. It also adds more entertainment, but it adds to the fight. Now, what else could have set this guy off? Maybe he was an emotional eater. That was my thought. I'm an emotional eater, and when they get my order wrong at the deli and I say half a pound of salami and they only give me a quarter of a pound of salami, something inside me wants to grab a shelf and swing it all the way around until people get the message that I want half a pound of salami. That's my instinct. But my logical part of my brain prevails and I don't end up doing that. Also, self-checkout. When I'm trying to scan an item and there's no sticker on it, that makes me want to grab a shelf and swing it at everybody within arm's reach. But again, I don't do it. I just wait for a representative to come, or I get in a line. But if I get into a line, it's 12 items or less, and someone has 13 items, it makes me want to grab a shelf. And it makes me just want to swing wildly all over the place until the person either goes to an appropriate line or admits that they were wrong. They were wrong about trying to sneak 13 items into a 12-item lane. The lane is there for a reason. So it's understandable what could have caused this. Do I love the entertainment aspect of this? I do. Do I want to see anybody hurt? Absolutely not. But I love interactive theater, and this is what they could start doing at Publix. You know, have a WWE type event in the middle of Publix. You know, you're just shopping, it's pretty boring, you're doing your mundane weekly chore of getting food for your family. Would it be nice to see somebody come off the top turnbuckle with an atomic elbow on someone else who can't reach the paper towels? That would be great. And it would be wonderful, and the entertainment value would shock up. And plus, then you have something to talk about with your family at dinner. How was your day today? You're never going to guess what happened. And that brings families closer. So I'm not against it. I'm not against a melee breaking out at a supermarket, because now you have something to talk about with your family. Also, I love interactive theater. I was in Tony and Tina's wedding in South Philadelphia, and I loved every second of it, and people had a great time. And I think if we had these interactive supermarkets where there was professional wrestling mixed with shopping, it would really take off, and we would have, it would improve society by a lot. So what I say is, people in Florida who get embarrassed by this stuff, by the way, people in Florida, when you bring this up, they get embarrassed. Do not be embarrassed, Florida, okay? Screw the haters. Be you, all right? The only thing this story was missing was an alligator and fentanyl, and this would have been a total Florida story. So stay strong, Florida. I like what you're doing. Again, we don't want anybody hurt, but I like where your head is. Shirtless man causes melee at Publix. I'm in. Sign me up. Where do I get my tickets for a shirtless Florida man causing a melee at a Publix? I love it, and I hope you did too. This is Mike Vecchione, and I'm investigating the news stories that you love. Like and subscribe. Please do it. Thank you.